Mr. Secretary, was it a success?
A thumbs up from America's Secretary of State and two from the Prime Minister for the first in-person international meeting since the pandemic began. But was this all premature?
Has this been held too soon, Prime Minister?
The day didn't start so well. India's foreign minister had come halfway round the world, only to be stuck in his hotel room, self-isolating with his entire delegation after two of its officials tested positive for coronavirus. By day's end, the Foreign Secretary was having to defend the decision to hold this meeting face-to-face.
Immediately that we saw those tests, they were into self-isolation. The diplomatic exemption has been going on right the way through the pandemic, but it's been with the additional measures that we've put in place, and actually they work very effectively to isolate any conceivable potential risk in this case. My suggestion is that we get cracking.
In 2 packed days, the meeting did deliver diplomatically, culminating in a lengthy final communiqué. The G7 member states expressed concern on China's human rights abuses in Xinjiang and Tibet, warned Russia against malign activities and cyber threats, warned Myanmar's military regime to reverse course, urged Iran to release dual national prisoners, and pledged to expand COVID-19 vaccine production. The aim of these meetings has been to present a united front of like-minded democratic countries against authoritarian rivals.
If you're worried about what China does, I think it's more likely to need to, rather than react in anger, it's more likely going to need to take a look in the mirror and understand that it needs to take into account this growing body of opinion that thinks these basic international rules have got to be adhered to.
The challenge for the G7 was finding a common voice after the disruption of the pandemic and the Trump presidency, and they'll claim to have been successful in doing so here. Critics, though, will say the COVID cases show it was too early to try face-to-face diplomacy again, and that has implications for plans to bring heads of state together in Cornwall in June. COVID scares aside, the foreign ministers leave hoping they've put the G7 and multilateral diplomacy back on track, a month before returning to Britain with their leaders. Dominic Raab, Sky News, Lancaster House.